Hello folks. There are many ways to solve problems, and in this little mini lecture, trying something different here, we're going to try first solving problems on an organizational level, and then we're going to go down and try to solve them on a more personal level. Right up here on the whiteboard, I've got a little thing here, name the problem, and then after that, figure out what the causes are. Now, one technique that they like to use is called brainstorming. I consider brainstorming basically a shotgun approach because you're taking ideas from all sorts of different people, and just any idea is a good idea, or so they say. I don't necessarily agree with that, but anyhow, I consider that kind of a shotgun approach because you've got all these ideas being proposed out there that this might be what's causing our problem. Okay? The 5 whys is a little more structured, and that's where you're supposed to ask, why did this happen 5 times? It's kind of a layered approach. You ask the question, why did this happen? There's your explanation there. Well, why did that happen? There's the next explanation. And you do that 5 times. And say 5 times because that's supposed to get you down pretty much almost all the time to the root problem. Okay, so that's one approach, a layered approach. I prefer this one right here, what I call the fishbone approach, because I think that with a fishbone approach, a fishbone diagram as they call it, you can actually incorporate brainstorming in 5 whys, and it looks something like this. You draw a fish head. That's a very ugly fish head. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Okay, there's your fish head, and that's going to be where your what your main problem is. What are you trying to solve here? I'm going to pick something out of the midair here and just call it late deliveries, because that's very common to a lot of organizations. So we'll put up here late deliveries, something like that. Late deliveries. Then what you do is you draw the backbone to your fish, and it goes something like this. Okay, and you draw the bones that come off it, like this. And we're going to draw a whole bunch of them here. You can even go that far if you want. And then you label each of those as you think are contributing factors to late deliveries. So if late deliveries is your problem, what are all these things here that cause or contribute to late deliveries? Well, you could say things like perhaps people. There's a good one. You could say something, blame the engineering department. That's always a good one. The engineers aren't doing their job right. It could also be sales. Let's put sales down here. It could be the weather. Weather can be an issue. We've got floods. We've got rain. We've got hail. Well, that's supposed to be weather. Water, weather, something like that. It could also be something to do with the assembly department. Assembly, or it could be your suppliers. That's a good one. Especially of late, we've had a lot of supply interruptions in the last several years. Suppliers. There we go. That would be another good one. It could be the if you have a machine shop or manufacturing, you can blame it on the machine shop. That's another good candidate for late deliveries. It could be the guys in shipping. Maybe for some reason shipping isn't working as well as it should. So there's another one. There could be a couple more. Maybe we'll think of them. Anyhow, once you've got this figured out, that these are the main contributing factors to our late deliveries, then you start building out from there. Okay, so we've got people. Well, what could be what could we put there under that? Well, you could say that we've got unqualified people. So you could say unqualified. You could say, we've got too many vacationers at one given moment, so everyone's taking time off. You've got vacations. You could also say that we've got people that are, well, I don't know how else to say it, but lazy. You've got poor workers. They aren't doing their job, or what have you, and so on and so forth. In engineering, what problems could you have with engineering? Well, maybe they aren't familiar with the product or whatever. So there you'd go, again, kind of an unqualified or untrained or something like that. So we'll put unqualified on that one there. Maybe here they're too slow. They don't do their work fast enough. Maybe they're overwhelmed or something like that. Perhaps they don't generate the documents that you need. Clean that up a little bit. and we'll say, how do we say that, like, no docs. There we go. They don't produce the documents that you need. The work goes out to the shop, and the shop goes, hey, what are we doing with this? Well, we don't know. Ask the engineer. And the engineer goes, well, what documents? What documents do you want? What do I need to tell you? You've done this before. Do it again. And everyone's going, well, no, we need some documents so we can do this. It could be suppliers. Maybe they've got stuff that's out of stock. We'll call it OOS. It could be out of stock. There could be cost issues associated with that. It could be that their trucks broke down or something. With weather, of course, you've got rain. One that people don't often think about is heat. It could be too hot. There could be road closures due to things. Who knows? Shipping. They could be writing down the wrong addresses or weighing the wrong things or packaging it correctly, so it's got to get returned. Machinery. Machinery is an easy one for me because I'm very familiar with machinery, and a lot of shops are pushing their luck with machinery that is too old, just simply not capable of doing the work. It could also be very finicky, especially as machines get older. They get very finicky, believe it or not. An easy way to recognize that is you can have a car that you've driven for decades, loan it for 1 or 2 days to a family member or friend, and they come back saying, oh, this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and all of a sudden you get in your car and yep, everything's broken. Well, what the heck happened? It is simply what happens from mechanical things being used by one person, then all of a sudden being used by someone else, and it isn't treated the same, and little pins pop loose and springs break and screws fall out, and next thing you know, you've got a heap of junk there. Well, the same thing happens to manufacturing equipment. It gets a little bit finicky, and one person knows how to work around it and doesn't think anything of it. Someone else hops on board, and guess what? Boy, all hell breaks loose, and things just aren't the same. So there you go. That's the fishbone approach. And like I said, you can incorporate the brainstorming and the 5 whys into any one of these and help you zero in on what the problems are and what to do about them. Thank you very much. God bless you.